EasternGeneralContractors.com. Wanted to put out this video real quick, and the topic of it is the top 10, basically the top 10 or 11 things that you need to become really good at in your business. I'm assuming you're a custom home builder, a contractor, or just generally in the construction trade. And so I want to share with you some of the things that I've learned over the past, 14 or 15 years of being in the business. And these are in no particular order, but I'm gonna just kind of touch on the things that I've found that is really important to a business success and is really important to their growth and super important to be able to create a business that can sustain the ups and downs in the marketplace. So the first thing I have, and I've got written it down on a manila folder I had here in the truck, and while I was waiting on a building inspector, figured I would go ahead and make this video. And again, these are in no particular order. The first thing that I've seen that I knew that I had to get good at was branding and marketing. Now I'm inside my truck, we've got graphics on our trucks. We started out, we didn't have any branding, any graphics or whatever, and I quickly realized that all the recognizable companies has really great branding, really great logos, really great. Some companies have mascots. We chose to revamp our whole branding quite a few years ago. Go with branded T-shirts. We've got outfits, where got certain colors schemes with our branding, with our polo shirts, with our khaki pants, and it's something that's carried consistently throughout our business. And what that does is that gives people that gives them confidence. Really, a known brand, a reputable brand gives the customers, the prospects, a level of comfort of dealing with your company, that it helps them realize that they're not dealing with a fly-by-night organization. And if they see that you have really good graphics, really good branding, they kind of like it's an understood known that you're an established company. So if you don't have good branding, you definitely want to consider doing that. I have some resources for folks that created our branding. We got a mascot, and they created all the graphics for our vehicle graphics, for our letterheads, for our logos, and all of that. And that was one of the first things that we did, was totally revamp our branding. And of course, marketing comes with branding. So you want to get good and get that established with your marketing and with your branding across your business. That's offline and online. Online, again, that's business cards, that's flyers, that's postcards, that's your vehicle wrap graphics, that's your company branding for your shirts, hats. We got stickers and things of that nature that we've created. And then we create videos showing off those type of things. So that's number one, marketing and branding. Number two is, I would say, is business acumen. Once you have good branding, and all of that stuff, one of the things I realized that I was lacking on at first, that if I had to go over and do again, I would definitely want to kind of get those skill sets up to par, is what I've labeled business acumen. And essentially what that is that, management, time and money management, resource management, and things like job pricing. You got to know how to do all of that, and manage your money, manage your time, manage your resources, and managing your job pricing, so you can track all that from beginning to end. Now, I was always really good at tracking the job pricing. What I wasn't really good at was the business side of things, and there's a certain business mindset that I've had to learn to adapt, because when I first got started in the business, I've always been a people pleaser. You know what I mean? I wanted everybody to like me, and I realized with time that was a flaw. We're in business, first and foremost, purpose of a business is to make money, and then everything after you make money comes secondary. And I get it. A lot of people say, well, you focus on the money. Well, I tried it doing the opposite. I focused on everything except for making the money, and thankfully, we were able to overcome that. But I realized that, I had to be honest with myself and with our business. The first rule of business is that, you're in business to make a profit. And I realized all the things that I was trying to do, satisfy clients, please clients, do a great job, it's a lot easier when you're making a really good profit on the job. So if you're making a really good profit on the jobs, then you're able to, I found it, I was able to do the other stuff a lot easier versus not making the profit and trying to go above and beyond, trying to please clients and satisfy clients. And certain times where you have to, like, what you call, not necessarily go above and beyond, but do things that you really don't have to do, but you do because you want to keep a good relationship. And it's harder to do that when there's no money, no profit there. So business acumen is including, that, the time, managing your time, how much time it takes to get things done, the money portion of it, resource management, and then job pricing. So that's number 2, business acumen. Number 3 is communication skills. This may be the most important one. And so, communication skills, I learned that one of the biggest problems, not just in construction, but in business and life in general, is communication. I'm assuming you understood what the expectations are because we talked about it, but the other person has a totally different understanding. And so, how do you go about doing that? And that's something that's never taught in school, or at least when I was going to school, it wasn't taught, is communication skills. And so I learned that was a major flaw of ours. And it's like that exercise in school where if you whisper something in one person's ear and it goes around the room, by the time it gets to the end of the last person in the room, the message is totally different, right? So how do you solve that problem? And one of the ways I found to solve it is, thankfully in today's world, we have, just like what you're watching now, video. And so our business, I learned to make our business heavily reliant on video and instant messaging. So when we're on the job sites and we're having to do certain things, we record videos showing exactly what needs to get done. Hey, we need to do this here. This is the reason why. This is what caused it. Here's what we need to do to rectify it. And here's what the end result should look like. And this is by far the best way I've found to handle the communication. Most of the communication issues is by using video, because that way the other person that you're communicating to is just like they're right there with you. And a lot of times they can't be right there with you. Used to be at the call on the phone, try to describe, they say, yep, I got you. They go there, they do XYZ item, you come back and inspect it, and it's totally not the way it should have been done. Well, using video helps solves that a lot of the time. Now, the only way that don't solve it is if we don't watch the video. But now the communication is clear because the way we use the video in a messenger platform that shows when the other person has watched that video message, and then they have to give a thumbs up or say, yep, got it. So that way they can't come back later and say, well, oh, I didn't realize that, without also admitting I didn't pay attention to the video. So therefore the responsibility is on you, and guess what? You have to pay for that. And there's no argument there. So that's one of the things I've learned in communication skills for this business that's helped out a lot. But number 3 is, becoming a really, really good communicator. Number 4 is problem solving. Also this is very important because in this business, that's all we do. From sun up to sundown is that we're solving problems constantly, day in and day out. So you have to become a problem solver. And that's just something where it takes time to do that. Some people has a natural gift for that. I was naturally gifted at solving problems. If you say, well, hey, this here isn't working, in my mind I automatically come up with the scenarios to work. And over time that gets refined and you just get better and better and better at it. But that is a very, very important skill set. Number 5 is persuasion skills or persuasion skills. So like, you have to become really good because you're going to be interacting with inspectors, architects, vendors, subcontractors, all these people. And, a lot of times if you're not careful, they're going to have their way with you and your team, right? But if you're a GC and in a construction company, you're the one that's needing to get your way and having your team to do things in a certain order that gets the result that you're needing. So if you're not leading them, they're leading you. And there's a balance there. You hire industry trade professionals, electricians, plumbers, heating and air conditioning guys, and you got to know when to listen to the industry specific experts. But overall, you're the guy or girl or whatever that's like supposedly running the show. And if you don't have persuasion skills, it's going to be hard for you to get your way in business. And there's also not just persuasion, but there's persuasion, to where certain way you can frame things in the beginning to get a certain outcome. And that's a whole different topic, but that's persuasion and persuasion skills. And I've found that that's a really important skill set to develop also. Number 6 is reading people. This was when I was horrible horrible, horrible, horrible at. And it took me basically running a couple deals. I had 2 meetings back to back, and I should have closed at least one of the two. And I went 2 for 2, not closing. And my business partner at the time was kind of sitting and watching, you know, how I went about that process. And he told me right after the dude, he said, "Man, you really, really suck at reading people. And if you don't get a grip on that, you're not going to make it in business." And so I'm the type of person that, you know, sometimes we don't know where our weaknesses are, and it has to be pointed out. And thankfully I was able to take that constructive criticism, because he was very blunt to the point. And, you know, some people can't take that type of direct tone. But once I knew what I was lacking in, then I was able to focus all my attention and effort into getting good at reading people. I had to read books, watch videos, and just educate myself on the art of reading people. And some of it is discernment as well. It's just, you know, paying attention and using good discernment to know what that person is feeling, is thinking based on the conversation. And that's a really, really important skill set, is reading people. The next one is critical thinking. So as you're growing in business, as you're, you know, going through the ranks in business, all these things become more and more important. Maybe not so important right at the beginning, but as you grow, each one of these will become more important. Critical thinking and being able to work under pressure. You know, like I said before, we're all in this construction business. We have to work under pressure, timelines, schedules, rain delays, weather delays. Now it's coronaviruses and COVID and all that stuff just wreaking havoc on our businesses. And if you don't learn how to work under pressure, you simply will not make it. And being able to think critically on the spot. Now, I used an analogy the other day. We were negotiating a contract, pretty large contract, and, you know, we're negotiating directly with the owners, and, you know, we're having to go through the contract, and they're wanting to add verbiage that benefits them. We're wanting to add verbiage that benefits us, and it started becoming way one-sided. And I'm like, guys, listen, you know, this is me talking to the clients we're working with. Like, we understand where it was about timeline, and we was explaining to them about all these different variables and how the timeline they were wanting us to commit to just totally wasn't feasible, and that we were used to working under pressure. We're used to working with figuratively speaking, with a gun to our head. But in that situation, you know, I said, you know, there's a difference between working under pressure and working with the gun to your head versus having the pistol in your mouth. You know what I mean? And I told you guys, with the way this is being set up, we're literally working with a pistol in our mouth, and that's not going to work. You know, if we have to bow out of the project, we don't want to. But this totally is not going to work. So we're not going to commit to that, nor we're not going to be able to meet that expectation. And they respected that, and so, you know, we come to terms on that. But that's something also you're going to have to be able to learn to do, is working under pressure. And a lot of these skills is going to intertwine with one another. So when you're working under the pressure, you're going to have to rely on your communication skills. You're going to have to rely on your problem solving skills. You're going to have to rely on your persuasion skills. And then you're going to have to rely on reading people if you're meeting face to face while you're working under pressure, while you're having to think critically. And that's how all of it starts to come together. The next thing will be process management and procedure management, because everything we do is a process. And if you haven't gotten to that point yet, you will, to where you're going to understand, like building a structure. There's a certain process in the order in which things has to happen. This can't happen till that happens, and then there's and or if situations. So for us, we realized it was critical for us to make a whole process, a mind map and a procedure of our process, and that allowed us to visually see everything in a sequential order. And, you know, especially for the team members, because I can see it all here, I've got it here, but when you put it down on a piece of paper, or ever, you know, how you document it, print it out, then everyone else can kind of see how your mind's operating, and it helps them become familiar with what's expected and what order things need to get done. And so that's number 8, process management. Number 9 is relationship management. As you're meeting with inspectors, as you're meeting with vendors, as you're meeting with subcontractors, as you're meeting with architects, engineers, clients, so have you, everything revolves around relationship. And there's going to be times where the relationship's going to be strained. There's going to be good times, ups in the relationships. There's going to be downs. And how you manage that relationship is very key. And part of the relationship management process, a skill, again, is combining all the things previous to that. You know, problem solving, persuasion, reading people, critical thinking, process management, and knowing knowing how to navigate tough situations in order to keep a relationship intact, and looking for the win-win, and knowing where to draw a line and where not to draw a line, and when to give and when not to give, and having open communication. And especially when you're talking with people under tense situation, is really listening to understand their perspective, not listening to just respond. And so that's a whole other topic, but it's very important with relationship management. And then number 10 is, once you get to this part, now what I think and what I saw has become more prevalent at like this stage is strategy and what we call role playing, where before we enter into a conversation, before we do meetings, before we execute a game plan in the field with different substrates and vendors, we typically will do a role playing scenario, either in office, amongst each other, or eitherwise. Once you get past that stage, you're able to kind of do it in your head and say, okay, I got to make this phone call, talk with this inspector, this and this and that. Here's the questions that they're going to ask. Here's the direction the conversation is going to go in, and here's the answer for this. Here's the answer for that. And oh, what about, he's probably going to ask about this and this and that. So you learn to take the time to kind of anticipate what those conversations, what their scenarios are going to be, so you can be better prepared and plan for that. And as you do that over time, you'll get really great at, and that's when really some magic starts to happen, because you'll be able to kind of predict the future, and other folks around you will think that that's like some magic gift or some talent that you've gotten, and really it's just you've been great at following these procedures, these things to get good at strategy and role playing. And we work on repetition, and when you really start mastering your craft and doing all this stuff, you can't help but to get to a point to where you can kind of see things before they happen, and then that allows you to head those things off. So that's strategy and role playing, number 10. And then number 11, once you do all 10 of these things, what I've seen is now you're going to spend a lot of your time, energy, and effort learning how to become a good mentor, a good leader, a good trainer, to train up people, not just in what you have, at least from our standpoint, it's not just in what their job is, you know what I mean? It's not just having a superintendent doing their job well, but being a good mentor to that person and building relationships with that person. Everything you're doing ties right back into the people that you're working with, that you're training, because our goal with this business is that some of these people is only going to be with us for a short period of time, or for a certain period of time, and through a certain season that we're going through. And even when that's the case, we want to be a blessing to those people and help those people become a better version of themselves, so when they do leave or go to the next stage in their life or do something different, they leave in a much better situation than what they came in with, the skill set they have, so they can be of more value to, say, their next position, because they have all these 10 or 11 skill sets that they've learned or benefited from, and they can carry those skill sets with them throughout the rest of their life. And these are the 11 things that I've found that have been and still is very important for our business, and that we're working daily on to refine, to get better. And it's helped our business to stand out in our marketplace. It's helped us earn a reputation for being one of the best, if not the best, custom home builders and general contractors in the area, which also turns into not having to compete, not having to not necessarily not having to compete, but not having to compare our pricing, say, with the other builders' pricing. Most people that come to us have already made a decision to hire us. They know we're not the cheapest. They know we're not going to be the fastest, but they're coming to us because they want something custom. They want something done right. They want to work with good people who's easy to get along with and that they can trust to do the job. And if something's wrong, they can trust that it's going to be made right with little to no stress, is the way we like to operate. And then we just have to make sure that the clients that we take on and the vendors and subs we take on is conducive to that same mindset. And when we do, magic happens. The impossible starts to become possible. And what I've always been told is that in the custom business, when you're truly doing custom, it's almost impossible to streamline this process for it not to be insane, because you have 30,000 moving parts on a custom project. And it's just really insane to think that you're going to get every moving part ironed out perfectly. But when you do these 11 strategies, it really helps you get to that point. And if you utilize these strategies with the customers, with vetting your customers, vendors, subcontractors, and all that, then you won't get to 100%, that's perfection, but you can get to 85 to 90% and sometimes 95%. And what I found, we are able to do what people have said has been impossible, at least in our marketplace. We have other builders that look at us and say, Ralph, I don't know how in the world you do this 8, 9, 10 custom projects at a time. It drove me crazy doing 1 or 2. And this is the secret. You know, these 11 things that I just mentioned has been the secret, and we're steady refining. So I hope that this has been a blessing to you. Hopefully you've learned something from that. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment in the comment section below. And oh yeah, you know, be sure to hit the like button down below, hit the bell so you get notified when we post new videos like this. And then when you hit the bell, hit you know, all notifications, so anytime we post a video, you'll get notified of it. We're going to be releasing more videos like this. We're going to be you know, releasing more behind the scenes videos of how we run our business, some of the things we run into, so you can learn from our experience. And hopefully the idea is that you don't have to go through all the struggles and all the hard lessons that we've had to learn. You can learn from someone who's already done it. So I'm Ralph Locklear, SoutheasternGeneralContractors.com. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, thumbs up, smash that thumbs up button, comment, and share this video. Thank you.